welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Mystic, and I am so pumped for today's video, as I always am, because this topic is one that I get asked about all of the time. So I thought that I would create a special video for you specifically on this topic because it's going to answer a lot of your questions, and I really hope that it brings you some information and perspective on this topic, which is how to discover, number one, your origin point in our universe, as well as number two, how to discover what star systems your soul has had incarnations in, where you've lived before in terms of this galaxy, other galaxies, where your starseed roots are, and where you have had experience as a soul in other places in our universe. And I'm going to explain the difference between the two also, because there's some myths about that in the spiritual community that I feel really passionate speaking about. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I really want to speak to is the fact that we have both a star origin point, which is the point at which your soul came into being, the point at which your soul decided to separate itself from the magic that is divine source, God, the creator, the universe, whatever word you want to use. So you have one point of origin. That is when we're talking about physical location, located somewhere within the realm of our universe. So that could be in a specific star system, that could be in a specific galaxy. That is your point of origin, literally your birthplace, your soul's birthday and point of being. And the second thing is that you have also had many, many incarnations and lifetimes in other star systems and other galaxies. So you are truly a cosmic and galactic melting pot of experiences within our universe. So you as an old soul have not just had 10 lifetimes or 20 lifetimes, you have had hundreds, if not thousands of lifetimes in our universe. And it is absolutely possible for you to have had soul experience in many, many different places. So if you're watching all of my Cosmic Connections videos, which I hope you are, and you're feeling a little bit frustrated because you're like, I sense characteristics from here and here and here, from Arcturus and Andromeda and the Pleiades, I don't understand what's my home, like where am I from? It's very likely that you have been in all three and you've spent lifetimes in all three of those places. It is 100% possible that maybe your soul chose to live in just Arcturus and you've only had experiences there. However, I would say that's very, very rare, and that it's more likely that your soul has had lots of experience in other star systems and places. And yes, your soul absolutely has that one origination point. However, I personally don't believe that to be as important as your soul's incarnation experiences in other star systems, because your soul has been shaped by all of those other incarnations. And yes, you're from one original place, but those other incarnations in other star systems have affected you more recently, if we're thinking about this in terms of linear time. Of course, we know that time is multidimensional, but if you're really thinking about your soul's experience coming here on planet Earth and what happened right before that, you're more likely going to resonate with the lifetimes that you've had most recently before you chose to come here to planet Earth. So let's talk a little bit about why your soul has had all of that galactic experience, the why behind why your soul chose that, because absolutely your soul did choose to do that. And the reason being is because your soul wanted to be as well-rounded as possible. Obviously, we're on this ascension journey, this journey of raising our vibration, right? And the purpose of that is, of course, to return home to divine source at some point by becoming as evolved as we possibly can, by having as many experiences, as many lifetimes, learning as many lessons, and understanding as many things as we possibly can throughout our soul's journey. So your soul has likely had many lifetimes of experience and lots of different star systems and galaxies because you wanted to have as many opportunities to evolve as possible. It's also possible that you wanted to, and this is something new that I channeled today, which I thought was really interesting. Maybe this information is out there, but this information came through for me that I've not been aware of it until this point, right before filming this video, which is it's also possible that your soul wanted to have as much galactic experience as it could in order to be fully prepared for handling your lifetimes here on planet Earth. As you're aware, planet Earth is a challenging place to live. It's a challenging place to experience, and it's a really tough thing for souls to handle, quite honestly, being here on planet Earth. So it's also possible that your soul chose to have as many galactic experiences as possible in order to be ready to handle life here and in order to be ready for your mission, perhaps in this particular lifetime that you are living right now. And I think that is such a cool thing to know, that you specifically chose all of those lifetimes of experience before incarnating here on planet Earth. I want you to think of that as a confidence booster. Think of it as, wow, oh my gosh, my soul has had so much experience and so much planned experience before I came here on planet Earth. So I'm so fully prepared for everything that I'm here to do, for living my mission and purpose, for all of the lessons that this lifetime is going to throw at me, for any circumstance that I might encounter here. I am so fully prepared. I have had so many lifetimes of soul experience that have led me to this very point in time and this very point in my soul's incarnation experiences. So breathe that in, allow that to really permeate every cell of your being, because having that confidence can really help you to feel strong and knowing that you are here for a reason on this planet. So when your soul chose to come here to planet Earth, it came here to planet Earth for two reasons. Number one is to help your soul to evolve more fully, so to have more lifetimes of experience. We're not messing around here on planet Earth, like I said, so it's tough being here. It's challenging being here. It is the ultimate ascension playground. Like, your soul is not going to escape this planet Earth without having had a plethora of experience and evolution. So your soul chose to come here to planet Earth in order to evolve. You also chose to come here to help planet Earth to evolve. So you're here to help the evolution of our collective, to help the evolution of the planet's physicality, meaning physical resources and so on and so forth, and to help the vibration of the planet to rise as well. And that may have taken you many, many, past lifetimes here on planet Earth in order to help you get to this point in time. But if you're watching this video, you know that you're here to evolve in the evolution of the collective and the evolution of the collective consciousness. So for both of those reasons, for your soul's own personal evolution, as well as for the evolution of the planet, you chose to come to planet Earth. And when we think about it from an overarching, overall eagle-eye view and perspective, both of those things, yourself, your soul's evolution, and planet Earth's evolution, are actually both intimately connected to Divine Source's evolution, because we are learning things and we're helping Earth to evolve in order to send all that information back to Divine Source to say, this is what we discovered. This is what we did. Now you, Divine Source, can grow and evolve. And as a whole, our entire universe can grow and evolve. How freaking cool is that? So your mission is for many, many, many bigger reasons than perhaps you can even physically comprehend. But I wanted to lead this video off with that so that you can really fully understand the depth and breadth of your incarnation experiences and how important that has been to your soul's overall evolution and journey. But now we're going to get to the point of this video, which is to discover, number one, what your origin point is in the universe, so where your soul originally came into being, and number two, the main star systems where you spent the most time. So where are the places that you spent the majority of your lifetimes? Those are going to be the ones that you really, really resonate with, and the ones where you likely have galactic guides who are helping you and influencing your journey on this planet at this time, and who may be here to help you with your mission and purpose. So how can we find out both of those things? I'm going to be talking about different ways and how to figure out both. So number one, let's talk about origin point. So the number one absolute best way to discover your soul's origin point is to get an Akashic Records reading. As you've seen in my other videos, I'm an Akashic Records Master Consultant, and you will know that the Akashic Records vibrate at the frequency of unconditional love and truth. So a trained Akashic Records practitioner is going to be able to read the energetic vibrations of you as a soul and to discern for you what your origination point is, depending on what that Akashic reader's unique perspective is of the Akasha, what tools they use, what questions they ask of your guides, etc., etc. So this is a service that I personally offer in both my written Akashic Records readings as well as the virtual reading. The written Akashic reading is really great because you get everything printed out and we don't have to meet, so it's great for those of you who are super busy and who have a lot going on. The virtual reading is really awesome because we get to meet face to face and you get a full, well-rounded healing experience. So not only do you get the information about your galactic origins, but we also go into past lives and we go into inner child healing from this lifetime and soul purpose and so many other different things. But during that Akashic Records reading, you're going to get the clearest, most defined perspective on what your origination point is. Now, a lot of Akashic Records readers will recommend that you don't have this done more than once, and I'm going to share with you why. The Akashic Records can be a little tricky. Some Akashic, and by the way, when we're tapping into the Akashic Records, as you know, it's an energy frequency, it's not a physical library, but every practitioner works with guides who help them to discern the information from the Akashic Records. So I work with my own set of guides, another reader in a different city, she's going to work with her own set of guides, etc. Depending on the guides that we're working with, they may give us current information that you already know, or I've also seen it possible that the guides will give you brand new information that you don't already know. So if you've already had your point of origin done by one person, I want you to respect that as being your absolute truth. And of course, as you know, you can take whatever you want on as your truth and leave the rest. However, I want you to really respect that reader's practices and to take on whatever you've been told in the past as being what the Akashic Records have to share with you. If a second reader is going into your Akashic Records and trying to discern that information for you, the guides may give you a different perspective on that origination point. So they may give you new information that you don't already know. More likely than not, that's going to be incarnations where you've spent a lot of time. Or they may give you information that helps you to understand the piece of information that you got the first time. That can also become a little bit jumbled and a little bit mucky for the person who is reading you. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not a good idea to test Akashic Records readers or to test any psychics in general, whether your information is black or white, right or wrong, because the Akashic Records don't work like that. They may give you, again, different layers, different perspectives, different information. And I don't want you to get yourself all stressed out and confused because you've chosen to have multiple different readings about the same information. So really respect that and really only receive this information once. Then if you want to know more, then go to another Akashic reader and say, hey, I know my origin point. I want to know more about my soul's history and the other starseed incarnations that I have had. And then they'll be able to give you more clarity around that, which is more interesting, in my opinion, than your point of origin in the first place. So always ask, where has my soul spent the most time in this universe? What star systems have I had the most incarnations in? Where have I had the most evolved experience? You can ask lots of different questions like that, and you'll get more well-rounded information around that. Again, the origin point, it's one of those things that feels like an absolute. And so I feel like it's more interesting to get more information about, once you've learned that, to get more information about where you've been than to ask multiple people for your point of origin. Just don't do that, you guys. It's not nice. It's not fun to play those psychic games like that. And it's only going to backfire on you in the end. And you're going to get yourself all confused. So don't do that. Okay. So the second way to discover what groups your soul has spent the most time with, So we've talked about origin point. The number one clearest way, again, is to go through the Akashic Records, get that reading done with a trained practitioner, go through someone who is trained, who's got a certification, who's got information on their website. Don't go through, you know, your next door neighbor who's like, oh yeah, I've read the Akashic Records, when they've only, you know, done a meditation on YouTube once or something like that. So again, go through a trained practitioner who you trust. Then when it comes to discovering what groups your soul has spent time in and what places you've had a lot of incarnations, my advice to you is to, and this may be for somebody also, by the way, who doesn't have the financial resources available right now to spend on an Akashic Records reading, this is a really great thing to do in place of that so that you can get clarity on your soul. You can do this on your own. What I would encourage you to do is to go through all of my Cosmic Connections videos. And there are a lot, by the way, so this may need to be a rainy Sunday afternoon activity, or you may need to go through all of them, you know, a day at a time, depending on what your schedule looks like. But go through all of them and really note how you feel as you're listening to them. Do you feel connected? Do you feel a resonance in your body? Do you feel a sense of knowingness? Do you get an aha moment? Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or, oh yeah, I have those characteristics and traits. Or, oh my gosh, that sounds just like me. You're going to feel a strong sense of resonance with the groups that your soul has had the most experience with. You're going to feel that gut sensation, that gut feeling. You may even get goosebumps or feel like an electric charge has gone through your body when you watch some of the videos. So really pay attention to that. That's going to give you a lot of clues. And you may even want to make a list of all of the different videos that I've done and pick and circling the ones you're like, yes, this one for sure. Yes, this one kind of. Yes, this one for sure. And that will really give you a lot of clarity around where your soul has had experience. Your soul knows. Your soul already knows the truth. So you're going to feel it. You're really going to feel the resonance of the information in the body as you go through all of my different videos. The third way to discover either your origin point or where you've spent time in our universe is by asking your guides in meditation. So if you have a meditation practice already, or maybe you're working on one, or you have in the past, you can absolutely go into the meditative state and ask your guides. I want to know more about my galactic history. Share with me what groups I've spent the most time with. And go with that. That will give you a lot of information. Of course, as always, make sure that you are using your psychic discernment when communicating with any guides. I have multiple videos on this, so watch them if you haven't seen those already, because they will help you with your discernment practice and making sure that you're speaking with guides who have your best interests in mind, who are going to give you the most clear information. It's also possible that if you're not getting a lot, your guides may have decided for you that you're not quite ready to know for whatever reason. And if that's the case, like, really trust that. Give yourself some space and time. Maybe you've been trying to cram, too much intuitive and psychic information and spiritual information into your consciousness, and your consciousness just needs some time to integrate and to rest. And then go back in a couple weeks and then ask the question. I guarantee there's some level of divine timing, or perhaps you end up finding the perfect intuitive Akashic Records reader for you along those lines, or maybe the money comes in to have an Akashic Records reading in the time between when you meet with your guides the first time and in a couple weeks. So definitely give that a try as well. You can absolutely work with your guides on this. And the final way that I recommend for asking your guides about where you've spent time in our universe and where you've had incarnations in other star systems is actually to use a pendulum. Now, a lot of Akashic Records readers use a pendulum when it comes to discerning what groups you have spent the most time in and what groups are where you've originated in our universe as well. So you can absolutely use a pendulum yourself. Now, of course, if you've never used a pendulum before, I would not recommend that this be the first exercise that you're doing. By the way, this is an example of a pendulum. This is a crystal on a chain. You can always make a pendulum with a heavy object attached to a string or to a chain. And then there are lots of videos out there on YouTube about how to use a pendulum. I will definitely make one at some point for you guys too. So if this is brand new to you, I wouldn't recommend this because you're not going to trust the information that's coming through. But if you already have an established pendulum practice and you feel comfortable with your pendulum, you can absolutely do this on your own. So I would make a list of all of the known starseed groups, and I would use your pendulum and ask whether or not you have had lifetimes in those specific places on your list. So you can use your pendulum and dowse on, is my point of origin with the blueprinters? Yes or no? Is my point of origin with the angelic realm? Yes or no? Is my point of origination in the Pleiades? Yes or no? And then go down the whole list, and then you can go back and say, have I had lifetimes in the Pleiades? Yes or no? Have I had lifetimes in Arcturus? Yes or no? Etc., etc. So that can be something that you absolutely do with a pendulum. Of course, again, you need to have a strong intuitive practice and really trust yourself to trust the information that's coming through. Now, with this in mind, with using the pendulum practice, I would only do this for yourself. Why? Because your soul already knows all the information. Everything about you is already inside of you, right? So your soul already knows your origin point and where you've spent other incarnations. It's all about remembering. However, your soul does not have access to the Akashic records of other people. So if you try to do this for your husband or a friend or for people in your town, you're likely not going to get the right information. It's not likely to be very accurate. So unless if you have been trained in the Akashic records to read the records of other people, you can absolutely use this practice for others. However, only if you feel like you can trust yourself, your gifts, and the information is coming through. Otherwise, again, you may get yourself all confused and tied up in knots, and I don't want you to be in that place. So again, only do this for others. If you feel trained, if you feel comfortable in working with the Akashic records, then that is okay. Otherwise, only use this practice for yourself. Okay? Thank you for understanding. We use the highest methods of integrity here at Emily the Mystic. And overall, if I want to leave you with a final comment and remark, it is to have fun with this journey. I feel like we can get ourselves really tied up in knots around the absolutes of where's my origination point, and oh my God, like what incarnations am I from? And we get ourselves really stressed out about the specifics, and we can become very perfectionistic around the stuff. What I want you to know is that perfectionism creates restriction around your intuitive gifts. It creates restriction around information coming through and in working with your guides. And overall, that's not going to be helpful to you, and it's not going to feel fun, and this is not going to feel light. It's going to feel like a burden, and we do not want anything here at Emily the Mystic to feel like a burden, right? The other thing I want you to know too about this is that as human beings, our consciousness can only understand so much. We can absolutely open our consciousness to understand so many different things. However, is it possible that there are other star systems and galaxies out there in the universe that are not known to channelers yet? 100%. So is it possible that you've had an origination point somewhere in our universe that is not known to channelers here on planet Earth? Yes. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. Everything out there, as you know, is channeled information. And so we can take on what is our truth and what is not. And with that in mind, we have to know that channeled information is not perfect information either. So there may be star systems or places where you've spent a lot of time that aren't known to channelers like myself or that are out there in the universe. And it's also possible that some of us have gotten some of the information pretty close to being spot on, but there may be some inconsistencies. And so with all of that in mind, again, you just have to accept the fact that this may not be a 100% perfect science ever. But that's the fun of it. That's the exploration piece. That's the self-discovery piece. So lean into that, have more fun with it, and just allow this to be a cool point of self-discovery in your own journey, knowing that whatever you learn about yourself is the information that is meant for you, and just allowing yourself to really be in that energy of the unknown and not having to have all of the answers or to know it all or to know absolutely everything. I've had to do a lot of work around letting that go on my own journey to know that I can't absolutely know everything. However, have fun. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect science. So with that, I leave you. Go have fun talking to your guides about your star origins. Go have fun in meditation or booking an Akashic Records reading, whether that's with me or someone else. I wish you well on that journey too. And I shall see you in the next video. Make sure you like this video and comment what resonated with you from this video. And otherwise, I will see you soon.